Give it up for Lloyd featuring Ashanti, the Southside.
Daddy, stop it. Yes, I be wearing braids and rocking jerseys. Stop. When you need it, when you move that girl, you done got my heart.
What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. Around 1999, Ja Rule released his first studio album, one that put Murder Inc. on the map. The album debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and sold 184,000 copies in the first week. It spawned the single Holla Holla, one that saw features from the likes of Jay-Z and Memphis Bleek amongst others. The album quickly went platinum and began Murder Inc.'s dominance over the music industry. As Murder Inc. grew, Irv Gotti decided to acquire new acts. Ashanti was added to the label, Charlie Baltimore and Vita amongst others. One artist who signed to the label later on was none other than Lloyd, who joined the label around 2004. Before Lloyd signed to Murder Inc., he was just a kid who had dreams of making it big in the music industry.
I'm Chucky. I'm Justin. I'm Lloyd. And I'm Everett. And we are Entune.
Lloyd came up in a boy band named Entune, one that released an album called Tune Time around the year 2000. The singles for this project include Should Have Been My Girl, which came out around 1999, and Ready, which came out around the year 2000. We had a single and we had a video. This was back in like 1999. Sammy was out right around that time too. We were all really good friends. We also had the same management. We're actually still really close to this day. Like most groups in the entertainment world, Entune eventually disbanded, leaving Lloyd with the only option of going solo. It wasn't a decision, it was more like an ultimatum. It was like, if you want to continue doing music, you're going to have to do it by yourself, because for some reason that's greater than myself, the group could not go on. I always try to encourage the guys to get back together. From the sound of things, Lloyd was forced to go solo, as he was probably the standout member of the group. After Lloyd went solo, he signed with Magic Johnson Records, where he began working on his next album under the guidance of the label head, David Gates, and the A&R director, Walter Young. After David Gates and Walter Young left the label, Lloyd was left without guidance, and the album he had been working on got shelved. Luck was on Lloyd's side, because soon after this, he had a chance encounter with Irv Gotti, who offered Lloyd a contract on the spot. At the time, L.A. Reid was looking to sign Lloyd to Arista Records. However, after considering his options for 2 weeks, Lloyd decided to go with Irv Gotti and Murder Inc. I met Irv from a friend of a friend and we just hit it off immediately. When Lloyd joined Murder Inc., he was eager to make his mark on the music industry. He dropped a lot of great material on the label. However, as of late, it's clear that he isn't as active as he used to be. So the question is, what happened to Lloyd? When Lloyd joined Murder Inc., he was put to work right away and he quickly released his solo debut album called Southside. The album reached number 3 on the Billboard 200 and sold about 67,000 copies in the first week. The album spawned the massively popular single of the same name, one that put Lloyd on the map. Lloyd's career had just reached a new milestone. Interestingly enough, the single features Ashanti, who had dropped 2 studio albums before Lloyd got to drop his first, namely her self-titled Ashanti album, which came out around 2002, and her Chapter 2 album, which came out around 2003. When Ashanti's Chapter 2 album dropped, it debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and sold an impressive 326,000 copies in the first week. Ashanti's previous album sold 500,000 copies in the first week. Her star power was clearly second to none. Using Ashanti's momentum, Murder Inc. paired Lloyd with Ashanti and brought a lot of attention to Lloyd's project and single. Lloyd dropped 2 more singles off this album, one called Hey Young Girl, one that was used to get the attention of Irv Gotti before he got signed, and another single called Southside the remix. It's safe to say that Lloyd joined Murder Inc. at the worst possible time. Murder Inc. was embroiled in a massive beef with 50 Cent, Aftermath, and Shady Records. 50 dropped Get Rich or Die Trying around 2003, and when that album came out, it far exceeded expectations as far as sales and influence go. Because Ja Rule and 50 Cent had beef, 50 Cent was trying to push the fans away from Ja Rule's music, Murder Inc., and anyone associated with them. Let's just say 50 had his foot on Ja Rule's neck during that time period. The constant assault by 50 Cent caused Ja Rule and Murder Inc. to lose popularity, and is ultimately one of the reasons that Murder Inc. lost momentum. The feds beginning a 2-year-long case against Chris and Irv Gotti did not help either. At the time, the feds believed that Murder Inc. was a money laundering operation, one working in conjunction with Kenneth Supreme McGriff. It was definitely a bad time for Lloyd to join Murder Inc. However, despite all the drama involving his label, Lloyd was not about to let this opportunity pass him by. In the same year his album came out, he made some notable appearances on other singles, namely Forever with 8-Ball and MJG, and Let's Cheat with Tango Red. In 2005, he appeared on Ja Rule's Rule album on a song called Caught Up. Lloyd made a notable appearance on Street Life on Rick Ross's Port of Miami and on another track called Tear It Up featuring Young Jeezy. Eventually, it came time for Lloyd to work on his next album. He went back to the studio, and the culmination of all that hard work gave us Street Love. The album debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 and sold about 145,000 copies in the first week. That's a huge increase in sales from his first album.
That's what's up. Your album drops March 13th. It's called Street Love. How is this album different from your other album that dropped in 2004, Southside?
Well, it shows my growth and development. I've came a long way since then. Now I come into it with my own company, Irv Gotti Music. At 21 years old, one of the only artists to executively produce his projects. I'm co-writing more of the music, and I decided to bring it back home to the South and just work with my friends who I believe and trust in, you know? Shout out to Jasper and Reese, shout out to Noonie and Jazzy, that's how we do.
Street Love was a career-defining moment for Lloyd. The album contains a lot of songs for the ladies, but with features like Andre 3000, Nas, and Lil Wayne, it's clear this album was also created with a male audience in mind. The first single off the album is the ever so timeless You. This song came out after Lil Wayne released the Carter 2. He was still getting into the habit of jumping on everyone's tracks and killing it, and this is one of those tracks where Lil Wayne did just that.
Right off the back, man, the boy got dollars, so women come frequent like flight mileage.
In addition, Lloyd's vocals are also perfect on this track. With both artists delivering their A-game, one can easily see why the song blew up. The second single off the album was called Get It Shorty, and the third was titled Player's Prayer. Naturally, Get It Shorty and Player's Prayer were not as popular as You, with the latter receiving no promotion and no music video. Despite this, Lloyd's second album gave him exactly what he was looking for, and that's international reach. However, his third album would not fare so well. Around 2007, Lloyd appeared with them Franchise Boys on a song called Turn Heads, along with another song with Huey called When I Hustle. Around 2008, Lessons in Love was released. The album sold a mere 51,000 copies in the first week and debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200. Lloyd's momentum was starting to slow down. Now, even though Lessons in Love moved less units than its predecessor, the quality of his music did not deteriorate. How We Do It was the first single off the album, followed by the second single Goes Around the World featuring Lil Wayne, and his third single titled Year of the Lover, all singles that didn't do well in comparison to the singles on his previous album.
Let's make a baby. Let's do something crazy.
During this time period, there was a rumor that Lloyd and Lil Wayne were about to drop a collab album. However, eventually Lloyd put these rumors to rest during one of his interviews. I think somebody asked me about that a few months ago. I told them that in my perfect world, me and Weezy would do a collaborative effort like a best of young worlds, kind of like Jay-Z and R. Kelly did both worlds. So I've got Young Gold and he's got Young Money. We're both young, two of the youngest in the game, and everything we do is for young people. It's just a creative idea. Some kind of way it got printed out that we were coming out with a joint album. It's just a rumor, it's just an idea, but we'll continue to collaborate in the future, definitely. Despite not releasing a joint album, Lloyd and Lil Wayne have always worked well together and did so once again when Lloyd appeared on 2009's Bedrock.
Ooh, baby, I be stuck to you like glue, baby.
Around 2009, Lloyd's ties with Young Money were clearly strengthening as he appeared on Drake's mixtape on a song called A Night Off.
I've been waiting for so long to get you all alone.
Now this is where things get a little bit more interesting. The year after Lloyd dropped his third album, he left Murder Inc. Records. I'm ready for a change. There's no bad blood. I just feel I need to take more control over my career and get a fresh start. Hopefully Irv can understand my position. I'm not blaming it on album sales. I'm more focusing on just growing in general. There's a lot that's yet to be done on our part that we would like to experience. And I think that as far as my relationship with the Inc., it's run its course and they've basically done all they can do for me at this point. At the time, Lloyd and Irv were not in direct communication with each other and hadn't seen each other in person for over a year. The problem was, after he left Murder Inc., Lloyd began to badmouth the label in public. And yeah, let's just say Irv did not like that. According to Lloyd, the major reason he left Murder Inc. was because the label was crumbling to a point where he had to do everything himself. When I first came in Murder Inc., it was kind of a record company and a production company. There was a lot of producers working, but now it's not like that. There's no production coming out of the camp. That leaves me with no music, which ultimately has forced me to become a lot more self-productive, like with Street Love and Lessons in Love. As mentioned earlier, Irv did not take too kindly to all the badmouthing and responded with the following. Ashanti is one thing. Me and her had our little thing, and it is what it is. She's not as bad as Lloyd. Lloyd, I have no love for. But here's a person that I helped out. The minute he left, I let you go. You wanted to leave, I let you go. And you gonna say, well, Gotti did this and Gotti did that. Nigga, you went platinum with Gotti. You went gold with Gotti. You went platinum with Gotti. What you doing now with Interscope? What did you sell, like 15 units? I'm not saying pay homage to me, but don't shit on me. I let you go. You wanted to be your own man or whatever. Get out of here. He could walk past me, he get hit by a car. I'd be like, oh word? He got hit by a car? Yo BJ, let's go get something to eat. Yo, that's some cold-ish right there. Now after Irv said what he had to say, Lloyd went on to say that he had no problems with Irv and was thankful for everything that Irv did for him. I just want to say I have no problems with nobody, right? I know all his people, real close, from BJ to his sister, family, we all pretty cool. So that's definitely one man's opinion about the situation, and I'm just thankful that his opinions don't dictate my future, that his attitude doesn't really affect my life, or his problems don't affect my life. Another reason Irv had issues with Lloyd is because once Lloyd left Murder Inc., he did a song with Irv's longtime rival 50 Cent. Because 50 and Murder Inc. had real street issues, it must have been difficult for Irv to see Lloyd break bread with the enemy.
So let's get it in, girl.
Now let's go back to 2009 for a second. During that year, Young Money released We Are Young Money, a compilation album featuring the newest signees of the label. Lloyd made a show-stealing appearance on Bedrock, giving us another hit with his frequent collaborator, Lil Wayne. Around this time period, he was signed to Interscope Records and released his fourth album with them called King of Hearts. The album had 3 singles, namely Lay It Down, Cupid, and Dedication to My Ex, Miss That. Now, there's a reason why Irv said this album sold 15 units. It was a massive flop. It debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200 and sold 26,000 copies in the first week. Once again, the sales did not reflect the quality of the album. Lloyd kept evolving with each album, with each one getting better and better. However, it seems like the public's interest in Lloyd's music was starting to decrease. After releasing this album, Lloyd needed a much-deserved break and took about 7 years to release his next album called True. The album did not make it to the Billboard 200. However, despite this, it still performed much better than his previous album. This is due to the success of the lead single off this album. True was a hit, garnering over 80 million views on YouTube and over 40 million streams on Spotify. It was also eventually certified platinum.
'Cause all I wanna be is true.
With over a decade in the game, Lloyd showed us that he still has the ability to make a hit and prove to the fans that his long-lasting career was not a fluke. True was a very personal album for Lloyd. On the single of the same name, Lloyd revealed the reason why he left the music industry for a long time. According to him, he lost an unborn child due to an abortion, and that left him feeling empty inside. He also had other family issues that took him away from music. In the early 2010s, Lloyd released a mixtape called The Playboy Diaries Volume 1, where he sang over instrumentals that have already been made public. Lloyd has released 2 EPs in his career, Like Me, the Young Goldie EP which came out around 2009, and True EP which came out around 2016. In essence, Lloyd's run on Murder Inc. helped him become the star that he is today. He dropped numerous albums with the label and owes much of his earlier success to the rise of Irv Gotti. Despite joining Murder Inc. during the label's downturn, Lloyd was still able to move units, proving that his talent far exceeded the label's problems. Lloyd is still very active in the music industry and was even a part of the Millennium Tour that took place around 2021. He even acquired a role in his first movie, a musical called The Bobby DeBarge Story. Now, despite not dropping an album that hit the Billboard 200 in a while, Lloyd has dropped so many quality songs that he's still able to eat off of them. He is still doing shows, and that's more than what can be said from a lot of artists that came out during his time period. Lloyd has about 500,000 followers on Instagram, where he goes by the name Curly-Headed Black Boy, and is promoting his latest single titled Slow Wine Bassline. Lloyd gets about 4.5 monthly listeners on Spotify, and his most popular songs on the platform are All I Need, You, Lay It Down, Get It Shorty, and Southside. That's it for me. It's your boy Ali. What happened to Lloyd in your opinion? Let me know down below. If you have a video request, be sure to let me know down below as well. New What Happened to video dropping next week. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.